that are plugged into the wall. This includes Ethernet cables or network connections, as they can transmit lightning strikes from the grid into your house and to anyone using the device.
I mean, I've heard this one a few times about showering. Some people say, well, you know, you should not shower during a lightning storm, or
no.
when there's any chance of getting struck by lightning. It's just better safe to be sorry.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry, as a matter of fact. And someone who is always safe and never sorry, we're going to send it out to the wall with Connor. Hey, you got an overview for us. What's going on?
That's right, Pete. I am, I guess, always safe and maybe sorry sometimes. But as you can see around the country right now, we're not looking at much rain in the mid part of the country. But down here where we are in the southeast, now that is where the majority of the rainfall is, as you just heard with some of that lightning and the rain showers last night, and even coming into tonight and tomorrow. We take a little bit closer look at the Tallahassee and the Florida southeast, and we can see this rain is associated with actually the sea breeze, the east coast sea breeze, all the way from Jacksonville, pushing its way inward towards our area. So you can see that those thunderstorms and thunder showers will again pop up over the next few hours and into tonight and again tomorrow, as we do taper them off a little bit towards Friday and the weekend for our game day forecast. Now the weather headlines, like I just mentioned, we have one more day of rain before we taper off a little bit, but unfortunately rainy game day looks like it might be quick break, but then showers come back. So what's tomorrow's forecast? Well, I don't know. Is fall coming? I guess we'll have to find out a little bit. Stay tuned. Hey Pete, are you looking forward to fall?
I am. You kind of left me hanging there with that cliffhanger. Maybe our viewers will stick around for the local forecast. We'll switch gears a little bit, and you saw that little bit of, I guess, outflow boundary. You may have heard that term before, but what does it mean?
Yeah, let's have weather word to talk about here. Outflow boundary occurs, the best way to put it is basically it's a release of air or energy when a tropical or a thunderstorm dies, excuse me. And a lot of times this event can actually fuel other storms. Exactly.
You can almost see these on the radar. Take a look later on in our local. You'll see a thin green line, which is ahead of the storm itself, and that's that outflow boundary showing up on radar. And meteorologists do look at these lines for a focal point for new storms to form. Looks like we'll be getting a front row seat of that a little bit later on tonight as those storms are rolling in.
Yeah, I heard the analogy put forward that it was kind of like when you slam a door. I guess you could put it better than I could.
Okay, yeah, slamming a door, that gust of air that comes through, it lifts everything up and it forces storms. But let's take a look at that local. Rebecca's going to show us all around.
Good evening, Tallahassee. Today we had a hot and steamy day today. Highs in the low 90s, hitting a 91, which is just above average. And tonight we're going to hit a low of around 74. Current temperatures pretty much all in the upper 80s. Bainbridge, you're in the low 90s at 91. Water vapor, you see a lot of green. Green indicates a high moisture content. This is going to be fueling the storms with that sea breeze that we're going to see later tonight coming in from Jacksonville. You can see here, as I was talking about the sea breeze coming in from Jacksonville into our area, which is going to be fueled by that humidity. Now, the futurecast. You see the stationary front to our north that is going to be fading out. That is causing the thunderstorms for tonight and last night. You can see this onshore breeze, or flow, excuse me, coming in that is going to cause humidity to come from the Gulf. This onshore flow will be drifting to our southeast, which is causing our rain chances to decrease by Friday. Beach forecast, if you're going to brave the beaches with this rain coming in, your surf is going to be 1 to 2 feet, not too bad. UV index 11. Very extreme. You're definitely going to have that sunscreen with you, and the water temperature is actually really warm at an 82 degrees. Tonight's forecast, we're looking at low 70s around the region, 73 in Tallahassee. Carabel, you're at 75. It's going to be about a 50% chance of rain. Muggy feeling outside from all that humidity coming from that onshore flow from the Gulf of Mexico. Looking into tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms again with that moisture causing the storms to increase. We're going to be hitting highs in the low 90s just like today. It's going to be another hot and steamy day. Looking at the week ahead, you're going to see that the temperatures are pretty much in autopilot. They're all going to be in the low 90s throughout the entire week, and our lows are actually going to be in the low 70s as well. The autopilot is going to be turned off, however, on Monday when our rain chances increase to 60%. Saturday looking a little rough for the Citadel game at 40% chance of rain. You're definitely going to want to bring those ponchos to the game. And we're going to send it off to Jake. Is it looking any warmer in the southeast?
Well, we're going to take like you said, take a look southeast. It's pretty warm out there as well. I mean, taking over here at Tallahassee's 87, we obviously knew it was going to be hot today. I mean, we're sure we all felt it. Even with the cloud cover we had, it's a little bit cooler than we saw yesterday, not 96 degrees, almost record setting, but around the southeast, we noticed in Atlanta, it's a little bit cooler. They're experiencing a little bit more, we're seeing a lot more precipitation develop over in this region as we have a stalled front up in that region that's meeting some southerly flow, and it's really just leading to a lot more precipitation. It's 88 up there, Savannah, 81 Montgomery, so we're sitting around the mid to lower 80s right now, mostly around the region. We see the winds coming out of the south right now in Tallahassee, really illustrating the southerly flow. We're meeting up to that boundary over in the Alabama region. Then we go up there and it starts to, nothing too significant, except Tallahassee we see 15 miles per hour, 20 in Montgomery, then Atlanta 7, but we are seeing some storms develop as the sea breeze and the southerly flow both meet and kind of conglomerate to make a situation we're seeing. The relative humidity, take a look at it, we're 57% right now. So not too moist, but we're still pretty moist out there right now. We could definitely feel the mugginess when we head outside. 74% Montgomery, 79% in Atlanta. So we can see that it is raining right there somewhere near Atlanta as we see the moisture really kind of, I'm taking another look at it right here. We can see it just really starting to develop right around the Alabama and Georgia region, starting to see the development of these systems as we see it moving off the sea breeze, and then as it moves up from the southerly flow to meet the boundary that we were discussing earlier, is really leading to some more development in terms of precipitation, cloud cover, and then as you watch it develop in that region, there's all the storms I was just mentioning, really starting to pick up the rainfall in this region. We move over to this side, we can take a look at a little tropical wave down here off the Florida coast towards the Atlantic Ocean. It's currently losing the fight right now, so to speak. There's a lot of dry air around it. It's having a hard time really developing and getting going. I mean, it's been that way all season in that region. We see Dolly over there, over in Mexico. But talk about on the boat. So let's talk about on the water right now. Southeast winds, 10 knots. Waves are 1 to 2 feet, but we are seeing some afternoon storms tomorrow. So if you're going to be out there on the boat, you want to keep an eye out for those, especially with the sea breeze and the movement towards the land. If you see cloud cover moving, you're going to want to keep your eyes on it. It's probably heading towards the coastline. But for tonight, it's going to be another relatively warm one. 73 Tallahassee, 73 in Atlanta, 71 Montgomery. Over there in Savannah, we're looking at 73. So still pretty warm. Not too warm though. I mean, relatively, relative to the 90s we've been experiencing. But let's take a look at tomorrow. 93 degrees. So once again, still a little bit lower, but still staying pretty warm for the most part around the southeast. But later on, we're going to be taking a look at some more in depth at some severe weather over in the Midwest. But for now, I'm going to kind of brief you into what's going on over there in the Midwest with the severe storms. We've got some isolated tornadoes possible, along with some severe thunderstorms, right, Pete?
Yes, looking ahead, they did get a good solid round this Labor Day weekend, and unfortunately for many in the northern Great Plains, that threat is going to continue through the night tonight and during the day tomorrow. We're talking about the area in the corridors of I-94, I-35 near Minneapolis, and of course I-90 in northern South Dakota. So the upper Great Plains under the gun yet again, gusty winds, small hail, possible with these storms, and that's for the next about 24 hours or so.
This is related to that stalled front, right?
The tail end of that. It's actually
right.
a system moving through the northern Great Plains, bringing that in, and it's going to be a focal point.
I actually expected that to be a little more southern yesterday, I believe, right?
Yep, taking that track, but let's jump right nationally, and Casey, take a look for us.
Thanks so much, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look across our nation. In fact, in terms of those current temperatures, we're sitting right now 96 degrees in Dallas. Very warm temperatures there, but even warmer as we get out to Arizona. Phoenix sitting at 105 degrees, but down toward our area, a little bit of rain trying to make its way toward the metro. Only 87 degrees at this hour. Raincourt area Atlanta, even cooler, 79 degrees. The heat index, a good indication of the amount of heat that is occurring based on what it feels like to your skin. Dallas, Phoenix, both over the triple-digit mark, right at the triple-digit mark in Dallas. Over it in Phoenix, 101 in that terms of that heat index. So down toward coastal areas of the southeast, New Orleans, not near as high, only 93 degrees in terms of that heat index value. Now, going ahead and take a look satellite and radar-wise, we do see some shower and thunderstorm activity concentrated especially over the southeast. We see down toward New Orleans, up toward Atlanta, even back closer to home, some heavy storms and showers as well. Jacksonville out toward just east of the metro, and I'll get into this a little bit later in our local segment, talking about where the storms are in the immediate area. Also some shower and thunderstorm activity a little bit more as we get down towards southern Florida, down toward West Palm Beach, also down toward Miami as well. Some shower activity and even more around Atlanta. Now, in terms of Missouri, we had a shower and thunderstorm complex near in Kansas City earlier. That's since weakened into this pretty much cloud cover as we get down towards St. Louis, Missouri. And out toward the northwest, showers as well, just north of Montana, also north of Idaho, and on the northern side of Idaho, a few shower and going on in those communities. Atlanta, pretty heavy flight delays. Probably contributing factor of that is the rain that's going on in that area, 67-minute delay there. Now, in terms of the forecast for tonight, our area is expecting 73 degrees Tallahassee. Areas around Dallas a little warmer though, 78 degrees, but already cool air moving into Montana and Utah, 55 Salt Lake City, 47 in Billings. Cool temperatures there, not expecting anything like that around here for a while. 93 tomorrow here around that Big Bend region. Now let's go ahead and take it over to our second local forecast though with Braden.
All right, thank you very much, Casey. And right now, we're talking, it's Wednesday, it's hump day. Let's talk about the rest of the work week. A little more rain for Thursday with that onshore flow bringing you that 40% chance of rain. However, a drier day on Friday, and we're going to be flirting with the mid-90s. May not get there, may get to the lower 90s, but flirting with the mid-90s over the next couple of days. As the week goes on, finish out your work week. Upper to mid-80s basically across the region, except down in Perry, they've gotten quite a lot of rain, so they're only sitting at 73 degrees right now. Valdosta also cool at 75. Apalachicola, hello to you. You're sitting at 81 degrees. Again, you can see that onshore flow coming in from the south, from the sea all the way up to the land. Pretty breezy right now out in St. Mark's, 10 miles an hour. Sustained winds in Tallahassee out at 15. So we are looking at some pretty breezy conditions, and that's going to persist for about the next 6 to 8 hours. It'll calm down a little bit tomorrow, but we still have a few stronger gusts. Here's all that rain I was talking about out in Perry. Pretty heavy, starting to simmer off right about now. But this line of storms right here is going to make its way east into Tallahassee overnight. We're already seeing a few showers. We're going to start seeing some heavier showers and maybe even some thunderstorms later tonight. There was a really cool light show last night with all the lightning on campus, if you saw it. If you didn't, that's all right. You'll get a chance to see it a little later. Zooming out, again, we take another look at Florida where there is a lot of rain and moisture, but even in up to Georgia and Alabama, seeing a lot of clouds, a lot of moisture kind of coming out. There's a stationary front just north of here, and you're about to see that right now. With that stationary front, we're still seeing some thunderstorms down in our area. As we put this into motion, you're going to see that stationary front kind of fades out just a little bit, and that onshore flow from the Gulf of Mexico coming in, bringing us some humid conditions and another round of thunderstorms tomorrow. But as we get into Friday, that onshore flow will become more southwesterly, and with that, we may just see a couple drizzles, a shower, maybe a thunderstorm here or there. But our rain chances by Friday are going to be going down just a little bit, just at 20%. So 73 degrees tomorrow, going to be a muggy feeling. Showers definitely persisting. Let's call it 50% chance of rain. Again, that wind shifting to the southwest just a little more. Still pretty weak at 5 miles an hour, so we are expecting it to die down overnight. Tomorrow, 92 degrees, checking out a 40% chance of rain with some partly sunny skies, scattered showers and thunderstorms, and that onshore flow fueling the fire for those afternoon thunderstorms over the next couple of days. 7 days ahead, we are looking to the Citadel game on Saturday, a 40% chance of rain, so it could be hit or miss out at Doak Campbell Stadium. But as we get to the end of the weekend and into next week, our rain chances are on the rise. So make sure you have that umbrella ready for Sunday and Monday. Low 90s across the board for the rest of the week. We will go ahead and send it back to the desk with Rebecca and Casey. Got some cool stories for us.
That's right. Thanks so much, Braden. Now let's go ahead and talk about this day in weather history. We'll begin with talking about the Labor Day hurricane that hit and impacted areas like Tampa in the year 1935. In fact, it unfortunately killed 400 people.
400 people, that is so many people, especially like with a hurricane. It was 26.35 inch barometric pressure. That's the lowest recorded in the western hurricanes.
Right, in the Western Hemisphere. Also, there was a Long Island hurricane in 1821. This impacted areas all along the eastern seaboard. It also impacted areas around Long Island. All total, 22 people did die as a direct end result of this hurricane.
And that includes the people that were in Norfolk, Virginia as well, right? When the hurricane swung north.
Yeah, it started out there and moved its way up the East Coast. And we'll talk more about other stories in just a little bit, but right now we'll go ahead and take a look around Florida with Connor.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, the story has been the same story it's been for the past couple of weeks. Hot, hot, and hot. It is currently right now 83 in Orlando, but here in Tallahassee, some cool spots right here with the thunderstorms that did roll on by, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but 87 here in the national championship location. But around Florida, as you move down south, the 80s are pretty much the story around the Florida peninsula. Now, current winds right now, this is going to tell the story for later on, as we have been mentioning the sea breeze, which has been coming off the east coast and pushing in towards our area. So right now, those winds between 10 and 15 miles an hour will help spark up some of those storms, and even some of those outflow boundaries, which we talked about earlier in the show, might help us kick off some rain chances that help cool us down. So I'm sure students around campus will be happy to know about those. So now if we look out to the satellite and radar, we can see some of this cloud cover now approaching the Tallahassee area around Florida. Even down there in Miami, we do have a little bit of disturbance in the Atlantic Ocean right now that's helping to give off some of the rain showers down there. And then that onshore flow is bringing it towards the Florida peninsula. So hopefully we can get some cooler temperatures in here due to these rain events, these thunderstorms, maybe some good lightning flashes, but of course be safe if you do look outside tonight and see some of those. So we get a closer view of now the Tallahassee area. See these thunderstorms all around, some of them popping up around the coast on Apalachicola. And these right here, these are called the outflow boundaries we've been talking about, and if you have some of these collide, we can see some pop-up thunderstorms, some of that rain here in Tallahassee. So please bring that umbrella if you are moving out to the outside region. Now, as we look towards the east a little bit more, Jacksonville staying clear right now, but see some thunderstorms and some few showers in the Atlantic Ocean. And as we move down south, even towards the Miami area, we can see some of that flow just going right on into the Everglades and into the western part of the state. So if you are on the side of the coast, be sure to take your umbrella and plan accordingly for your evening plans. Now, the radar right here in Central Florida, hometown right there, is going pretty much the same deal. We're going to have some of those showers move inland from the east coast and move inland towards the Orlando area. So just be sure to plan accordingly if you're going outside. Now again, if we bring it in a little bit closer, you can see Monticello and Tallahassee here. Going to have some of these outflow boundaries right here collide, so we might have some pop-up showers right here over the next couple of hours, and that will be continuing the case as we move in to the later evening hours and even into the late night hours if we experience even more thunderstorms. So tonight's forecast, looking at a muggy 73. We're still in the summer. It does not feel much like fall out there. Even warmer down as we move down south towards Miami, almost near 80 degrees as a low. Not very comfortable out there. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Temperature is going to be in the low 90s pretty much across the entire southeast. So do plan another hot and muggy afternoon. And now we're just going to talk about the tropics. Some interesting things happening in the East Pacific, that's for sure. What do you have to say about that, Pete?
Well, tropical update, tropical trouble, or tropical trepidation. With this year, we have not had that, which is good news for us in, of course, the Sunshine State. For this year, what we've had to deal with was 4 storms. We've had Arthur, Category 2 hurricane, went off the East Coast. Bertha, Category 1. Cristobal, also Category 1. And most recently, Dolly, which was a tropical storm. Of course, tropical storms have winds less than hurricane force. That's 73 miles per hour or less. Pretty much a rainmaker for Dolly. Let's get right into it, of course. September. This is the season. This is the peak of hurricane season, September 10th, in fact. So you can see all these areas in the hot colors. We'll call them pink, orange, red. That's the focal point for where storms form in September. Most likely they take the Cape Verde track, which is all across the southern trades, coming up the East Coast, and of course, don't forget about the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. But the good news, folks, that's pretty clear. Look in the central Gulf, nothing to speak of, just those afternoon popcorn showers and storms. But this blob right over here, let's jump on down there. That's Dolly. Remnants of Dolly dying over the high terrain of the central Mexican coastline. They're not even issuing advisories on this. Just going to be a rainmaker. Flash floods, of course, accordingly, but not a wind threat, nor a storm surge threat. So fortunately, Dolly brushed the coast, gave them some rainfall. That's about it. Now we'll move ahead, of course, into our area. Current conditions here, those storms are beginning to fire. Valdosta rain-cooled now at 73. Tallahassee rain-cooled at 87 with storms in the area. So if you're making that evening commute through I-10 moving eastbound, you see this little pocket of orange right here? That's all rain-cooled as the storms have moved in from the southeast over towards the northwest. Of course, always to the north. While it is sunny now, it is definitely rainy off to the northwest. Take a look at that radar. Shows the picture. Valdosta setting up from a line southward across US 98 and alternate 27 headed through Perry. Storms firing, moving off towards the northwest. And even Tallahassee, we're looking in Killarn Estates up US 319, Thomasville Road. You're seeing a lightning show there, of course. And of course, if the thunder roars, don't be afraid to go indoors. Remember that lightning safety. Even in these popcorn storms, they don't last all that long. All it takes is one strike. Overnight tonight, 73 degrees, 72 in Valdosta, low 70s, of course, the northern area, of course, Alabama and Georgia. Move ahead, of course, to tomorrow, and that's where the heat turns on, mid-90s, all the way. All it is, pink, red, that's 90 degrees. So we haven't beaten that heat quite yet, as we expect 90s all the way through this week. Like they said earlier, on autopilot, that's what the 7-day forecast looks like. But we have more to share as the show rolls on. We're going to send it back to Casey and Becca with some wrap-up stories at the desk.
Now, Pete touched on this. Tropical Storm Dolly, after we've been tracking it for quite a long time, finally made landfall in Mexico last night. It has now since dissipated into a low pressure system, but it is still causing a rapid rainfall in northern Mexico and into South Texas.
That's right. In fact, there's a report of 1.06 inches of rain in this 28 minutes this morning in Brownsville, Texas. Very heavy rainfall, even in outer areas associated with the circulation of the remnants of Dolly.
Now, this rapid and extreme rainfall caused a bridge to collapse in northern Mexico near Veracruz.
That's right. Serious situation there. Just heavy rain on these roads causing problems. Also, there's also another system that's going to have an impact on Mexico. This one in terms of areas around the eastern Pacific and the western side of Mexico.
This is Tropical Storm Norbit, correct?
Right, absolutely. It has 70 mile per hour sustained winds impacting the southern portions of the coast in those communities. But we'll go ahead and take a look, in fact, now at our almanac for today. 91 degrees was our high temperature on this Wednesday here on September 3rd. This morning, 74 degrees for that low temperature. Now, this is a little bit above average here across our Big Bend region. 90 is that average, 71 is that average low. Also pretty far off those records. Current temperature across our region now sitting at 87 degrees here in the metro. Getting up to southern Georgia, a little warmer, really not too much rain impacting them lately. In the Bainbridge area, 93 degrees. But you can really see where the rain is falling on this map. Areas around Perry, Taylor County, 73 degrees. Same thing with Valdosta, 73 as well. And this is illustrated nicely by what the temperature was 24 hours ago when these communities were not receiving rain, at least in the way of Perry. A 17-degree difference in that area from 24 hours ago. A big difference because yesterday the heating of the day and the sun was out in that area, meaning no rain was falling, and that kept things a little bit nicer. But unfortunately today there is some rain falling around that area. In fact, you can see that on the radar. We're starting to see it weaken just a little bit, but Perry really had a heavy downpour earlier. Valdosta right now sitting into some very heavy rain. Lowndes County, Interstate 75, heavy rain there. Northern Leon County, some heavy rain in that area. We're watching those to see if they'll intensify a little bit more because of some outflow boundaries that are developing across the Big Bend region. In fact, since midnight, we had 2.54 inches of rain in Perry. Very heavy rainfall, as illustrated by some of the other information I've been sharing with you. Now, into ward areas like Tallahassee, 0.01 inches. Then we had most of our rain last night, which we'll talk about a little bit later at the desk with Rebecca. Now, satellite and radar-wise, there are some clear conditions in towards some of our areas, so that's some good news at least. However, most of our area is seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms here this afternoon. Now, as we see, the thunderstorm activity will continue in some of our areas, especially our easternmost and northernmost areas tonight. This is all influenced by a stationary front as well as a low pressure system. And now tomorrow we're going to see humid conditions across our area. We'll be seeing a southerly flow bringing in some of these conditions, meaning more thunderstorms are possible across the area. Now on your Friday, some drizzly conditions around. We'll keep an eye on it, but shouldn't be quite as bad as before. Now in tonight's forecast, we do see 73 here in the metro. Muggy feeling. Might want to keep that umbrella handy. Same thing with tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms as well. A 40% chance of rain with temperatures in the lower 90s. Now in that 7-day forecast, we see your rain chances. We're seeing 40% chances of rain as we get into tomorrow, as I was mentioning, and those rain chances increasing as well as those temperatures pretty much staying steady, in fact, with lows in the lower 70s, highs in the lower 90s.
And we didn't just see rain last night. We're going to continue to see it throughout the week. But last night was pretty bad with those severe storms coming in.
That's right. In fact, there was 2 inches of rain at the Tallahassee Regional Airport in just a 4-hour period. Very heavy precipitation in that area. And that caused even some minor flooding of the roadways. Not too bad. Also, a lot of lightning, which is always dangerous, as Pete was talking about earlier. You got to make sure to remember, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck.
Definitely. And the severe storms that we had with all that lightning and that became very dangerous on the roads was caused by not only the sea breeze, but a cold front moving in from Virginia that pushed the sea breeze even closer to us. And with that humidity, it just fueled the storms even more.
That's right. Absolutely. Heat and humidity. That's going to last into our next 7 days, in fact. Temperatures lower 90s across your area. Rain chances on and off, even for the game on Saturday. Make sure you bring a poncho to that. And you can like us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter. And you can also watch us at any time on livestream.com/FSU Weather. So again, we'll keep you updated here on the weather conditions across our region. But for now, I'm Casey Cloud.
And I'm Rebecca Bennett. Have a great night.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.